PK in the universe, and I am back again with another video. And today I wanted to talk about the topic of physical media versus digital media. It's a topic I've talked to death, to be honest. Lately, of course, GameStop has been posting stuff on Twitter about, gaming preservation. And it's like, I bet you wish you had physical games. Well, ironically, not even really selling old Xbox 360 games anymore, and they shut down Game Informer, their physical magazine. So I wanted to talk about the topic of digital versus physical again, and I thought I would do kind of a different approach to it this time, so here we go. Physical media has always held a special place in the hearts of many fellow gamers. It's always held a special place in my heart in particular. I've been playing video games since I was at least 5 years old. I grew up with the original NES. I still own the original Super Nintendo that I bought with my own money for $100. Video games mean something to me, and so do physical games. There is something so undeniably satisfying about holding a game in your hands, admiring that artwork, and adding it to your library of games. I've always been of the philosophy, much like an actual library, you don't have to read every single book in the library, and you don't have to play every single video game you own. Sometimes the games we have in our collection just mean something to us. Maybe a friend of ours gave us a copy of Earthbound and we just can't bear to part with it. Maybe we have a ton of ways to play Super Mario RPG, but the one we had from when we were a kid, even though the battery doesn't work anymore, still has a lot of personal meaning to us. But while physical media certainly has its merits, it's important to remember that it's not without its limitations. As much as some of these hardcore video game collectors would like to have you think physical games are forever, the truth is physical games aren't perfect. Not by a long shot. At the end of the day, they have a shelf life. Some argue that physical media is the ultimate form of video game ownership, something no company can ever take away from you. In a way that's true, but let's consider actual, reality. Physical objects are still vulnerable to all kinds of existential forces. Over time, even the toughest of discs and cartridges can suffer from wear, tear, degradation, and can become totally unusable. Natural disasters like floods or fires or tornadoes, etc. can destroy your well-curated collection in the blink of an eye. And let's not forget, if you face financial difficulties, maybe you didn't pay your taxes, maybe you went bankrupt, maybe you have an aging parent, or you've become the aging parent. Your assets, including the most precious games in your video game collection, could be seized and sold, which might totally be out of your control. Moreover, physical media, like all material possessions, cannot be taken with you when you pass on to the next life, whatever that may look like for you. There's an old saying, you can't take it with you. The idea that physical items hold some kind of eternal value is ultimately a fantasy. A final fantasy. Now, digital media isn't perfect either, especially when it comes to DRM. DRM protected digital games can be altered, restricted, or even removed by the companies that control them. That's a valid concern, and one that shouldn't be ignored. DRM is a draconian practice done on both PC and consoles alike. The major issue with it is it treats the gamers like children who can't be responsible with the games they purchase. Consumers should be able to do whatever they want with the games they've purchased, as long as it doesn't violate any laws and it doesn't hurt anybody. However, there's a bright side to digital media, particularly when it's DRM free. When you purchase DRM-free content like ROMs from itch.io, you have the freedom to back up your files in multiple locations. A place like itch.io or GOG puts trust in the consumer to decide how and where they want to play the games they are purchasing. It truly is power to the player. Of course, these games still have their own risk. Sure, if you only save your game in one place, there's a risk of losing it if the location fails, kind of like physical media. But the beauty of digital media is that you can safeguard your collection by storing it in several places on your computer, an external hard drive, or even the cloud. At the end of the day, both physical and digital media have their own strengths and weaknesses. Neither one is perfect, and we need to quit acting like they are. Both have their place in gaming. As collectors and gamers, it's so important to appreciate the value each format offers. You don't actually have to elevate one over the other as some kind of, quote-unquote ultimate solution. You're an adult who can make your own decisions and play games the way you want to play them. So whether you're filling out your shelves with games you hopefully want to play or that have at least some type of nostalgic meaning to you, or whether you're filling up a hard drive with games, remember the true value lies in the experience with these games and the experience those games bring, not the format they're being played on. Video games are more than just physical or digital. For a lot of us, they are emotional, and sometimes they are even healing. We look at these characters in these games and we see ourselves in them sometimes. We see people we want to be, or people we would never want to be. We see a part of ourselves, or we see someone we know, or something that reminds us of something or someone we know. That's the power of video games. That's all the time I have for today. What are your guys' thoughts? How do you feel about digital versus physical and the conversation that surrounds it? Comment below. Love to hear what you have to say. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and stay awesome in this universe. Thanks. Bye.